What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Chaos Bros Pod. We are doing episode 4, so we have officially made it to a month of the podcast. For all of you that have tuned into this first month, thank you so much for your support.
Thank you.
We couldn't appreciate you anymore. I did want to say, we announced this last video, we are live on Spotify now, so all of our podcasts will be uploaded to Spotify as well as YouTube as normal. We have had an emergency episode of the pod that was last week. Only YouTube will have the emergency episodes.
Yep.
So they are YouTube exclusive. You will not be able to find them on Spotify.
No.
We have also launched a TikTok page to post some shorts, little clips from our pod. So if you want to go follow us on TikTok, it is the same handle as our YouTube. It is just the Chaos Bros Pod.
Yep.
So be sure to
TikTok dances.
No, we will not. But be sure to look us up there. So anyway, today we only have one thing on the agenda, and that is ranking the Fox X-Men universe. This will wrap up our superhero rankings. We've done Spider-Man, we've done MCU, we've done DC. We're doing Fox X-Men universe, and that'll kind of wrap up our superhero rankings for now. We are looking for recommendations for future episodes. I've got some stuff that I want to put together, some ideas that I want to put pencil to paper. But if you guys have any ideas, let us know. We do have a Brand New Day review coming out at the end of the month. We are seeing Brand New Day July 30th. We will record the podcast after we see the movie, and we will give our review on that. And that whole episode will just be our review on Brand New Day.
Yay.
So that'll actually be first week of August because we see it July 30th. So it'll be the first episode in August will be our Brand New Day review. So stay tuned for that if you're excited for that movie.
Yep.
Other than that, I think let's just get started with our X-Men list. As normal, I have seen more movies than he has.
Yeah.
So I have all 14 X-Men / Deadpool movies on my list.
Yeah.
He has 9.
I have 9.
So he has not seen any of the Deadpools or Logan. So I'm going to get started. Like the past few episodes, I'll do my 14 through 9. Then after I do my 9, he will jump in and we'll go back and forth. Let's get into this.
Yeah.
All right. So, at number 14, I have it at a 4 out of 10. And this might not be everybody's least favorite, but I think it's pretty universal that this is a bad movie. I have X-Men The Last Stand. So at a 4 out of 10, X-Men The Last Stand for me, this is my least favorite X-Men movie. There are some interesting parts to it, like seeing the mutants become divided over the mutant cure and seeing it as offensive is an interesting concept to the movie. The way that it kind of like tears the mutants apart and divides people is very interesting and could be a very good storyline. But I do not think it was executed very well, and I think the movie was way too stuffed. Adding the Dark Phoenix storyline and the mutant cure storyline into the same story just made the movie way too stuffed. They needed to pick. Do they want the mutant cure or do they want Dark Phoenix? Dark Phoenix is way too important of a storyline to try to stuff multiple stories into a movie for. Dark Phoenix deserves its own full-out movie. And so this just did not work for me. Jean Grey in this movie feels very underdeveloped. Seeing the Phoenix manifest itself in her is very rushed and kind of confusing at times. It does not feel that we get that full explanation and get to see her like fully change from Jean Grey to the Dark Phoenix. It just kind of blip and it happens. We don't get to kind of see the progression toward that. So that's another part that I did not like about this movie. Killing off 2 fan favorite characters at the beginning of the movie, Cyclops, Professor X. That was a very bold decision from them. And it did not work out very well at all. So for me, this is just a really messy, uneven movie that has way too many plot points to it. I have it at a 4 out of 10. So, moving in to my number 13, with another 4 out of 10, I have The Wolverine. So I do not like this movie. I know there are plenty of people that do, that think it's okay. I actually like Origins better than this. I don't like Origins either, but I actually do like Origins better than this. This movie is very confusing at times, and honestly, it's a snooze fest throughout the middle of the movie. There's some cool action sequences, but it's really boring. Seeing Logan grieving Jean is a very interesting part of the movie, but that's about it for me. That's about all that works for me. The ninja storyline did not work at all, in my opinion, which is a shame because the ninja storyline is such a great Wolverine comic arc in the comic books, and they adapted it horribly in the movie.
Yeah.
The final battle with the silver samurai is just very forgettable. It just feels like a huge CGI slot fest. And it's over pretty quickly. It's not as cool as you would hope that it would be. Wolverine fighting a freaking robot samurai. The whole storyline of Logan struggling with wanting to become mortal, it's not really finished by the end of the movie. And it felt like kind of lazy writing. Like they started the storyline at the beginning of the movie. Logan struggling with, I don't freaking want to be a mutant anymore. I want to be able to die. I don't want to be invincible. And then he meets the guy in Japan that offers him a way to be mortal. And then the storyline just kind of drops and it doesn't really end. So it just kind of feels unfinished, kind of feels like lazy writing. This is not a movie that I would want to rewatch anytime soon. Maybe every once in a blue moon when my kid grows up, I'll show him it just to show him the movies. But not my favorite movie. It is oh, I'm sorry. I said 4 out of 10. This is a 5 out of 10 for me.
Yeah.
My bad. Don't hate me.
Hate him.
Or wait, no, it is a 4 out of 10. My bad. 4 out of 10. Excuse me. My Letterboxd was showing me 2 different scores.
Oh.
But 4 out of 10 is the final. Sorry. I'm sorry. All right. Coming in at number 12 with another 4 out of 10, I have X-Men Origins Wolverine. So, again, I like this a little bit better than the Wolverine. I think it's less boring than the Wolverine. I think there's some good action in this movie. And even though it's not a great movie, I feel like you can be entertained watching it. So for me, that makes it just a little bit better for me. But not by much. They are kind of the same tier of movie. For me, a movie about the origin of Wolverine is a very interesting concept, and a concept that I wish they would have explored better. The CGI is very shaky throughout this movie. There are several fight scenes where it's just like, do they have the frickin' CGI department of a low-budget studio, or is it Fox making this movie? Like, it doesn't make sense. It's like, it's Fox. They should have a higher budget and better CGI for this. The storyline of him thinking that his girlfriend died, later to find out that she's actually alive and betrayed him, I think is very interesting. And I really liked that storyline in the movie. But the rest of the movie heavily distracts from this plot twist. And it feels like it doesn't really live up. Like, this should have been the major plot twist of the movie that, like, makes you go, oh, really? And then right after that, they throw Deadpool in. And it just completely distracts it and ruins that whole plot twist. So another movie, this is another movie that has way too many characters, too many plot lines to keep up with, not to mention how they completely wasted Deadpool. When I first watched this movie, I remember thinking out loud, seeing Deadpool. I remember laughing out loud seeing Deadpool on the screen for the first time. Taking away Deadpool's ability to talk is horrible. It is comparable to if you took away Bruce Wayne's intelligence, if you took away Superman's ability to fly, if you took away Spider-Man's sense of humor. That makes the character. You cannot have that character without that. Deadpool is a quirky character that has a crude sense of humor, and that's his character. Having him mute for the whole last act of the movie does not do his character justice at all. It is not faithful to the comics. It is horrible. Overall, this is a movie that I would only watch again if I really just wanted a good laugh or to see a couple cool action sequences. But not a great movie in my opinion. 4 out of 10. All right. Moving into number 11, we are jumping up to a 5 out of 10 on my list. I'm going The New Mutants. So, I don't think you've seen this movie.
I've never seen
No, he has not seen this movie. So, for me, when this movie was first announced in 2015, I was super excited about this movie. The concept of this movie is really fun. Seeing mutants being held in a medical facility that they later found out is a prison is a very cool storyline. I was also very excited to see a horror X-Men film. That concept to me was like, oh my goodness. And this was announced in 2015. We have not really gotten any of that darker horror type
Mhm.
superhero movies yet. There have been a couple since then, but so to me, I was really excited for that concept. Unfortunately, this movie experienced a huge number of delays and rewrites. This movie did not end up coming out till 2020. It was announced in 2015. It was supposed to come out in 2018, and it didn't come out till 2020. So all the delays and all the rewrites really hurt this movie. The movie was ultimately toned down a lot, and a lot of the horror elements were scrapped from the movie. There were still a few, but a lot of it was scrapped, and you sat down wanting to watch a horror X-Men movie, and you're like, there were maybe 4 scenes that were kind of horror-ish, and the rest was just kind of like a movie. um, anyway, the start of the movie is way too slow for me. There's a lot of talking between the characters, a lot of dialogue, and it doesn't really pick up. This movie is a very short movie. It's about an hour and 38 minutes, I think, an hour 40 minutes. And it just feels stalled. It feels like they put all this dialogue into the beginning of the movie to get it to a feature-length film, because you can't have a feature-length film if it's like under an hour and a half. So it's like they're trying to hit the mark so they can just put the movie out as a movie. And they just stalled way too much with the dialogue at the beginning. It feels very slow, very boring. They spend way too much time trying to connect us to each mutant that they fail to give us an emotional connection to any of them. So for me, instead of focusing on every single mutant in the facility, they should have focused on 1 or 2, really showed us their backstory, really tried to emotionally connect us to them. But instead, they tried to do that to each character, but they didn't get enough time to do that to each character. So none of the characters feel significant because of that. But the final fight against the Demon Slayer could have been very fun, or the Demon Bear, sorry, not Demon Slayer. The final fight against the Demon Bear could have been very fun, but it feels very rushed with poor CGI. My expectations started high when this movie was first announced, but it lowered when it kept getting rewritten and delayed over and over again. Ultimately, I think it's an okay movie for the number of times that it has changed during the creative process. But it's not a movie that I would be in a rush to see again. So for that reason, I have it at a 5 out of 10. Yeah. All right. Moving into my number 10 on the list, I have Dark Phoenix. This is also a 5 out of 10 for me. So for me, I think that this movie is a little bit better than The Last Stand. So take 2, here we go again, trying to put Dark Phoenix into a movie storyline again. Can we do better this time? Sort of. Not really. Maybe a little bit. I do think this is a better version of the story than X-Men The Last Stand, but it still lacks depth and leaves a lot on the table. I don't know what it is with X-Men writers wanting to put another storyline into a Dark Phoenix film. They did it with The Last Stand, and they do it again here. In The Last Stand, they had the mutant cure that was competing for screen time with the Dark Phoenix. In this movie, they had the shape-shifting aliens that were competing for screen time with the Dark Phoenix. So I don't know what it is about X-Men writers that's like, we can't just give Dark Phoenix its own movie, we have to shove something else into it. That really frustrates me. I do feel like they did a better job showing Jean transform into the Phoenix in this movie. They actually showed, okay, she was in space, she got the solar flare. They showed her changing. They showed her becoming darker. I do think they did that way better than they did in The Last Stand. Michael Fassbender is amazing as Magneto, as always. I like seeing Jean trying to go to him for help. Mystique's death is very forced. It feels very reminiscent of Professor X and Cyclops dying in The Last Stand. It feels like they're trying to repeat a lot of stuff from that movie. It just doesn't work for me. It feels very forced. I do think the train sequence at the end of the movie is a very fun sequence, and I'd put it probably top 5 to 10 X-Men fight sequences for me. I think that this is a bad movie, but that is a very good sequence for me. I think it's fun when they're trying to take out the aliens on the train. Sorry. The ending of the film is disappointing for me, though. Seeing Professor X retire does not sit well with me. I know that they tried to give him a send-off knowing they weren't going to do more movies after this movie. Like, they knew this was the last movie whenever they wrote it and whenever they filmed it. So they wanted to give his character kind of like a proper send-off. But to me, I know you weren't going to make more movies, but just end it, and the team's still intact. He's still the leader.
Yeah.
And then it just ends and that's the end. And you don't make any more.
Yeah.
For me, just rushing him into an early retirement, first off, doesn't make sense to me. Because at the end of Days of Future Past, we see him all old again.
Mm-hmm.
But at this movie, you have him retire young. So like it's like it doesn't.
The timeline is weird.
Yeah. Like at the end of the movie, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
When Logan wakes back up and then he's in the X Mansion and you see Jean and you see Professor X. And so I'm like, if he retires at the end of this movie, how does the end of Days of Future Past connect to that? So it's just very messy to me. I don't like the ending. It doesn't make very much sense for me. This movie is fun enough for a rewatch for me, but it is not a good film overall.
Yeah.
So 5 out of 10 for me. All right, number 9, and then he will get into his number 9. At number 9 with a 6 out of 10 now, I have Deadpool 2. So this is a solid movie. It is not as good as the first Deadpool, but it is fun and is a solid sequel. Josh Brolin shines as Cable. He is easily the most enjoyable character in this movie for me. Killing off the X-Force instantly is honestly a funny bit that works very well for a Deadpool movie. Ryan Reynolds is hilarious as Deadpool as always. Juggernaut is awesome in this film. Mm-hmm. He is way better in this film than he is in The Last Stand. Mm-hmm. I did not know that Ryan Reynolds played Juggernaut in this movie until recently, which is kind of funny to me.
Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah, Ryan Reynolds played Juggernaut too. So I did not know that. That's kind of funny. I did not know that till recently. The action in this film is awesome. And there are truly no boring parts to this movie for me. Along with all the good, though, there are a few parts to this movie that keep it from becoming a peak movie. I think there's a little too much humor for the film's own good. The jokes are flying so fast in this movie that a lot of them land flat. The movie does not have a traditional villain. The people running the orphanage turn out to be the villains by the end of the film, but it feels a little weak for me. I wish that was a bigger part of the movie and fleshed out a little bit more. The movie is also very stuffed with plot points. Ultimately, this is a movie that's very fun, but it's also very messy and kind of all over the place.
Yeah.
Definitely worthy of a rewatch, but it's more of just a laugh out loud fun movie than it is a great movie. So with that, we are going to get into Logan's number 9.
Yeah, I've never seen any Deadpool. Actually, well, I saw like the first one for like 15 minutes, and I was like, yeah, that's enough for me. And so you see clips on YouTube, and so that's all I get. So I've seen Brad Pitt in Deadpool 2 and for like 1 second, and then that's it. And so, as number 9 on my list, I have Dark Phoenix as a 4 out of 10.
Okay.
And you'll hear us talk about like James McAvoy and like Michael Fassbender as we keep getting into the prequel films.
Yeah.
I saw this movie once and honestly don't remember the plot. I see movies like one time and I'm like, I probably won't watch that again.
Yeah.
So that was this one. I love James McAvoy and Michael Fassbender as young Professor X and Magneto. Nicholas Hoult is good as Beast. Excuse me. And Jennifer Lawrence is great as Mystique. I think she's good. I don't know if it's just, I don't know. But I do agree her death was weird. It's weird. I don't understand that. I don't know his name. So Ty Sheridan or whatever, the guy from Ready Player One, he's all right as a young Cyclops.
Yeah.
But not a fan of Sophie Turner as young Jean Grey. I don't really like her. And she pops up in more movies, and I'm not a fan. We'll see how this new chick as Jean Grey does, but I just don't know if she just suits Dark Phoenix. I like the train scene.
Yeah.
But that's about it, because I know Quicksilver's in this movie, but I don't remember him being in this movie.
That's another thing about this movie, and I forgot to talk about this, so I'm glad you brought up Quicksilver. And that's kind of to my point. This is the first movie since Quicksilver's been in the X-Men movies that he's forgettable. Yeah. And that's horrible. Because in Days of Future Past and in Apocalypse, he has iconic scenes that are awesome, top-tier scenes in the X-Men universe. And there's just none of that in this film.
No.
So that's a problem for me too, is how he is such a good character, a fan favorite, and he's very forgettable in this film. Yeah. So that bothers me too.
Yeah, I just I don't remember this movie. I probably won't ever watch this one again. I just don't get it. So yeah, as a 4 out of 10, I have Dark Phoenix.
All right. Moving in to my number 8 with another 6 out of 10. This one is going to make Logan very mad.
Huh? Which one?
I have 6 out of 10. Number 8, X-Men Apocalypse.
Oh no, that's fine.
Okay, I thought you liked this movie.
I don't know where I'm not gonna tell you. What
Okay.
the hell am I?
So,
I ain't telling you.
After First Class and Days of Future Past provided a banger start to the Young X-Men timeline, this one dropped off in quality significantly for me.
Yeah.
This is by no means a bad movie, but it is very disappointing for me. Making Magneto one of the main characters of this movie was an amazing choice. He is easily my favorite X-Men character of all time, and Michael Fassbender delivers an amazing performance in this film. The opening to this film, with him losing his family, is very emotional and works very well for this movie. It shows that even when he chose to do the right thing and save his coworker, the world still feared him and saw him as weird and different. Quicksilver also steals the show in this movie.
Yeah.
The sweet dream sequence of him saving everybody from the exploding X-Mansion is iconic and will be remembered as one of the best scenes of an X-Men movie ever.
Yeah.
The Wolverine cameo was also a very fun moment for me in this movie. Now to the bad and disappointing parts of this movie. For me, there are just way too many characters in this movie. They try to introduce too many mutants, and you don't get to see a great character development because of that. As a comic book fan, Apocalypse is extremely disappointing in this movie. Apocalypse is supposed to be one of, if not the biggest X-Men villain. He is supposed to be extremely powerful, but is defeated fairly easily in the final act of this film. For comparison, for people that don't read comics or don't know comic books, he is supposed to be as powerful as like Thanos before he gets the stones, obviously. 'Cause Thanos with the stones is like unstoppable. But he's supposed to be as powerful as like Thanos without the stones, or like as a Doctor Doom type character. Like he is supposed to be a very powerful top tier villain. This film portrays him as much weaker than that. He should feel like an unstoppable villain, leaving you on the edge of your seat about how the X-Men are going to stop him. But you sadly never feel that throughout this film. In the end, it's a good movie that delivers some of the best moments in the history of the franchise, but the rest of the movie is extremely disappointing and leaves you desiring a lot more. So with that, we will get Logan's number 8.
As another 4 out of 10, I have X-Men: The Last Stand.
Okay.
Honestly, forgot the plot of this movie. Something about a mutant cure and Magneto doesn't like it. That's about it. Jean Grey turns evil and then wants Logan to kill her so that she doesn't kill everybody else because of the Phoenix inside of her. Didn't really like how Magneto left Mystique because she sacrificed herself for him. She's like, ah. And then she has like the cure, and then she turns back to normal, and then that's about it. Juggernaut was interesting. On the Juggernaut, and then that's about it on him. But I didn't really like how Jean killed both Scott/Cyclops and Charles/Professor X. I didn't really like that. I just like. I forgot the actress, Famke Janssen or whatever. She's good as Jean Grey, but as the original X-Men movies go, her character just kind of decreases, and it's just you kind of forget a lot of stuff. Hugh Jackman is great. I love James Marsden as Cyclops. Kind of forgot he was in this movie or as Cyclops, and then Halle Berry is fine as Storm. But that's about it. I mean, there's not like much good. Angels in this movie, I thought he was kind of cool.
Yeah.
But that's about it.
Yeah. That is one thing though, throughout even the bad X-Men movies, the peak actors still deliver peak performances.
Yeah.
Ian McKellen's always great as Magneto. Patrick Stewart's always great as Professor X. Hugh Jackman's always great as Wolverine. Michael Fassbender's always great as Magneto. James McAvoy's always great as Professor X.
Yeah.
Even when you get the bad movies, the good actors are still great.
Yeah.
So that's something that I love about the X-Men franchise, and that makes some of the bad movies still rewatchable for me, is I can sit down and enjoy the characters.
Yeah.
So. All right, moving into my number 7. We have now jumped up to a 7 out of 10 on my list. I have the first Deadpool movie.
Alright.
So, I know a lot of you are probably surprised at my score and disagree with this score. I rank this movie a lot lower than most people. Don't get me wrong, Ryan Reynolds is amazing as Deadpool, but the overall story of this film does not entertain me much. Ajax is a very generic and weak villain. It somewhat works for the plot of this movie, but it just makes the movie feel a lot smaller in scale. The revenge storyline in the movie is very predictable. You kind of know what's going to happen while watching this movie. There's not very much surprise. They do mask the predictability with a ton of jokes and humor, but that just doesn't fix the problem for me. There is plenty of good in this movie that makes it enjoyable, though. Deadpool's unique and hilarious personality is entertaining all throughout the movie. The highway fight is great and one of my favorite action sequences in a superhero movie. Overall, this is a faithful Deadpool adaptation from the comics, and that's good enough for me, considering our first introduction to Deadpool on the big screen was, well, for the sake of being nice, let's just say it was disappointing.
Yeah.
So that's Deadpool for me, 7 out of 10.
Yeah. And Dan can expand on some of my explanations because I just give so as a 6 out of 10,
Okay.
I have X2.
Okay.
Honestly, don't remember of this plot as well. Something about Stryker attacking the X Mansion and the Cerebral Machine. Logan kills this girl that has adamantium fingernails, which is a cool fight. I love Nightcrawler and Iceman. I love those two. Particularly the scene where Wolverine asks Iceman to chill his drink, but it's a little bit weird because Iceman just makes eye contact the entire time. He goes, and it's like it's so weird, but it's kind of funny.
Yeah.
Pyro is a cool new mutant. I think the guy did fantastic. And him joining the Brotherhood was kind of interesting. Him not wanting to be part of like the X-Men and just do whatever because the government and everybody hates them.
Yeah.
I think that's interesting. Don't really like Jason capturing Xavier's storyline with Stryker's son, and that was a little bit confusing, and the infight was a little confusing too. So I think it's okay, but it's definitely not one of the best X movies.
Yeah.
So yeah, 6 out of 10. X2.
All right. Moving into number 6 on our lists. For me, with a 7 out of 10 again, I have X2. So, to repeat a little bit about what he just talked about, the movie is a solid sequel to the original X-Men movie. Stryker is a strong villain. His pure hatred for the mutants makes him a very interesting character. This movie also knows how to perfectly balance the action sequences and the storytelling, which is something that in some of the worst X-Men movies you don't really see. Seeing Magneto team up with the X-Men is a very cool moment for this series. I do feel like Cyclops and Jean are sidelined for a large part of this movie, though. We don't get to a lot of character development with them, and Jean really is not important until the end of the film. Although good for its time, the CGI makes this movie very hard to rewatch in the modern day. Ultimately, this is a fun movie and good enough sequel to keep the franchise going. But it's just one of those movies that, like, it's very obviously aging. It's very obviously not a modern day superhero movie. There's some superhero movies you can go back and rewatch, and you're like, I can't even tell this was made 20 years ago or 20. Like Spider-Man. Spider-Man was made 25, 24 years ago now.
Yeah.
You can't tell by watching it. Like, there's some movies that are great. The Dark Knight movies were 20 to 25 years ago now, depending which one you're looking at. And you can't tell that they're that old when you watch them. This movie came out around that same time as Spider-Man on his Batman Begins, and this movie you can very clearly tell is old.
Yeah.
So for me, just not a very rewatchable movie, but still a good movie.
Yeah. Excuse me. As number 6,
Yep.
this is going to surprise a lot of people, or not. I don't know. As a 6 out of 10, I have the Wolverine. Now, I'm one of the people that really like the two Wolverine movies. I've never seen Logan, so that's not part of this. But I do like some of these, even the good and the bad. Said not a bad story. I actually like how Logan saved Yoshida. I'm not going to pronounce his first name. And the story is formed around their time in 1945 Japan, like the Japan bombing and everything. I thought that was kind of cool. Yukio is an interesting character, and her ability to foresee people's death was cool. I've never seen the Deadpool movies, but I like how she is a mutant who is expanded in the X-Men universe. Uh, the ending kind of towards end of the movie where Logan is like fighting in the snow. I thought that was kind of cool. I know when like superheroes fight in like wintertime is very interesting, and so this one is good for that. Um, and I didn't really like how Logan's claws got sliced in half by a fire sword. I just some of the where they try to explain something for Wolverine just doesn't hit, and that just doesn't hit well. Um, but how this ending transitions into like Days of Future Past and etc. was cool because I like seeing like Magneto and uh, Professor X and like the airport and everything, and Magneto's like, Logan, we need your help, and like everything. I thought that was kind of cool, but in part, this is not a great movie, but it's not a horrible. So mid tier, 6 out of 10.
All right.
Yeah.
We are moving into our top 5 of the
Yay.
X-Men movies now. So this is where it starts to get pretty good. At number 5, with an 8 out of 10 for me, I have Deadpool and Wolverine. So I seem to be in the minority here, as this is easily my favorite of the Deadpool movies. A lot of people think that this movie is just a cameo fest with no plot, but I think there is a good enough plot and storyline for this movie. Wolverine's character development throughout this movie is very good. Starting off as a variant that failed his universe and building him up into the hero of the story is great. Him being responsible for the X-Men dying in his universe works really well for his character and the story that they are trying to tell here. The opening scene of Deadpool digging up Logan's corpse and then using his bones to fight TVA agents with NSYNC's Bye 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 playing in the background is hilarious. Seeing Deadpool have an interview with Happy Hogan for the Avengers is hilarious as well. The montage of Deadpool searching for Wolverine variants is awesome and leads us to seeing some cool comic-inspired versions of Wolverine. It's really cool whenever we get to see the Wolverine that wears the brown suit and Deadpool shows up and then his claws come out and in the reflection of his claws you see Hulk.
Yeah.
I think that's really cool. That comes from a comic line. Seeing the short Wolverine is very cool.
The Calvary.
Calvarine's very cool. So I enjoy that sequence. Where was I? Okay. So Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman are amazing together in this movie. Their back and forth bickering and Wolverine being plain out annoyed by Deadpool this whole movie is hilarious. I also think this movie has some of the funniest jokes of the trilogy. There are quite a few cameos, but they work well in my opinion. Seeing Chris Evans return as Johnny Storm for a scene is awesome. Seeing Blade, Elektra, and X-23 return is awesome. And getting to finally see Channing Tatum's Gambit is amazing. After years and years of him being rumored to play Gambit, and they could never greenlight a movie for him, and he finally gets to be in this movie and gets to be in the role that he loves, and now he's returning for Doomsday and Secret Wars. I think that's awesome, and I think he does great as Gambit in this movie. Wolverine hating Deadpool the whole movie and then coming together with him to save the world at the end is a satisfying conclusion to the story for me. The choice of music for this movie is amazing as well. So many bangers, including Bye 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 by NSYNC, Madonna's Like a Prayer, and and Goo Goo Dolls' Iris. This movie is just great for me, and it's a very rewatchable movie and a very fun time. This is a movie that you can just turn on and be entertained from start to finish.
Yeah.
And not try to be a film critique. Just sit down and watch a very funny, enjoyable movie. That is this movie for me.
Yeah.
So I have that at an 8 out of 10, number 5 on my list.
As number 5, this is gonna probably trigger a lot of people. As a 7 out of 10, I have X-Men Apocalypse.
Okay.
And we'll talk more about the castings later. But not a bad movie. Love Oscar Isaac as Apocalypse. and love him gathering various people like young Magneto, young Storm, Psylocke, and Angel. Love the scene where Michael Fassbender is screaming as all metal crumbles in like the prison camp where he was as a kid. I love that, and he's like reaching at the ground, and he's like, oh. And then I also love his backstory / current story of his family being hunted down. And that's why he hates humans, is because he tried to save his coworker and everybody still hates him, and his family's dead because of him essentially. I love that. Great casting of people. James McAvoy as Professor X, Michael Fassbender as Magneto, Ty Sheridan as Cyclops. I love Lucas Till. I love MacGyver, and so like seeing him be Scott's brother, I think that was kind of interesting. Jennifer Lawrence's back, and Nicholas Hoult as well. And still aren't a fan of Sophie Turner as young Jean Grey, as well as the actress for young Storm. I just don't get her. That's just some of the young castings for current X-Men just don't make any sense.
Yeah.
It just doesn't flow well. Evan Speeder as Quicksilver is great, and him trying to like reconcile with his dad Magneto is an interesting storyline. As him saving the kids from the X Mansion with Sweet Dreams, I thought that was kind of cool. I didn't really like how the movie concluded. I get Professor X trying to help Jean Grey, but like it's just like you're trying to suppress the Phoenix, but just how that whole storyline goes between like all the movies, it just doesn't go well, and it's not interesting. If they found like one single movie for Dark Phoenix, and they found a way that makes it make sense why Professor X is trying to suppress that for Jean, and then it just goes like an all-out war where she kind of like I don't want to spoil it but I know how Logan ends with Professor X.
Yeah.
How he kind of just explodes and like it just harms a lot of people. If they did that for Dark Phoenix, I think that would be good.
Yeah.
But they're kind of what you're saying, where it's Dark Phoenix and then just another storyline, and it just doesn't sit well.
Yeah.
You got to pick one or the other, and so it just kind of feels rushed.
This movie, X-Men Apocalypse, it's not Dark Phoenix.
No.
That is just Jean's power.
Yeah.
That's just her mutant ability. Dark Phoenix is when she goes up to space in the Dark Phoenix movie. And the Dark Phoenix is actually like a physical force that takes over her body. So this movie, it's not Dark Phoenix, it's just her powers. But
I don't know. I don't get the new X-Men movies. So yeah, as a 7 out of 10, it's X-Men Apocalypse.
All right.
Yeah. Egypt dude.
Oh no. No, that's just my main thing with this movie is, and it might not be Oscar Isaac's fault because the character is written horribly, but Apocalypse just does not live up to.
Yeah, him being like an Egypt dude, and then him having to like transform or like mold his mind into.
Well, that's okay for me. He's just not near as powerful as he is supposed to be.
No.
And I mean, Marvel has always had a problem with killing off their villains in general.
Yeah.
But he's a villain that should be an overarching villain of the X-Men films for a very long time.
Yeah.
He should not be killed off.
No.
He should be around. They defeat him. They contain him for now.
Yeah.
But he should be an overarching villain of the series.
Yeah.
He's that powerful to where you can't just kill him.
Yeah.
And they just kill him.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it just doesn't work.
I don't get it. But what's your number 4?
Anyway, number 4, with another 8 out of 10 for me, I have the original X-Men. So for me, this is a movie that truly started it all for Marvel on the big screen. Sure, there were a few Marvel movies before this, like in the early to late 90s, but this is it for me. Those 90s movies were very poor quality, were not looked up to very well. This was the blueprint for tons of Marvel films to come about how to adapt some of the most likable characters ever into movies. Patrick Stewart, Ian McKellen, and Hugh Jackman are top-tier casting choices. Professor X and Magneto both have the same goal of protecting mutants, but they have very different ways of doing that. Magneto sees humans as a threat and believes mutants will never truly be safe around humans. Professor X believes in learning sorry, I'm stumbling on the words. Professor X believes in learning to coexist and work together with humans. Seeing these two different ideologies clash together makes for an interesting story. The movie is a bit short, and the stakes feel a bit low for a superhero movie. The final Statue of Liberty fight in a modern day typical superhero movie, that would be like an Act 1 or Act 2 fight. The Act 3 fight of a superhero movie nowadays is usually a big, huge event. The Statue of Liberty fight feels kind of small. The stakes feel a bit low, and the visual effects are very dated. But for its time, this is a very good movie, and it kickstarted an era of Marvel movies that we are still seeing play out till this day. We still see Hugh Jackman, Ian McKellen, and Patrick Stewart are coming back for Doomsday. A lot of the characters, Kelsey Grammer's coming back for Doomsday. So we're still seeing these iconic characters from this 2000 X-Men movie come back today. So that's how you know that it worked, is when you're still seeing these storylines continue and go on and fans still love it. The nostalgia for me definitely brings this film up for me. I know, again, same with X2, very shaky CGI, visual effects. But just the fact that this movie really just started it all for us. And then we went on a hot streak. We went into Spider-Man. We went into the Dark Knight movies for DC. This really just started modern day superhero movies. And that's enough for me.
Do you want to know what's my number 4?
What's your number 4?
It's an 8 out of 10. I have the original X-Men movie.
There you go.
I said, good first movie about the X-Men. I love Hugh Jackman as Wolverine / Logan. I love the tension between Logan and Scott Summers / Cyclops. Kind of tension between that for Jean Grey. James Marsden is great as Cyclops. And I thought it was a little bit weird between the relationship for like Logan and Jean Grey was a little bit weird, but I think him giving Cyclops a lot of BS in the movie, flipping it off and everything, I thought that was kind of funny. I love Sir Patrick Stewart as Professor X and Sir Ian McKellen as Magneto. Rebecca Romijn as Mystique is good, and Halle Berry has a better superhero role as Storm than her later one as Catwoman, because Catwoman was 2004. I thought it was before, but it's actually after. I love Ray Park, previously Darth Maul, Phantom Menace, and that's Toad. Even though he was a little bit weird in this movie, but I love. And then him and Storm just was. And Sabretooth is a good side villain, and the plot was decent. Wolverine's relationship with Rogue, Anna Paquin or whatever, I thought that was kind of interesting, and how they meet with him, with Logan being in like a bar and everything, and just it's very interesting. And I actually kind of like this movie. Statue of Liberty was, but it was kind of interesting seeing like the behind the scenes, or the like a deleted scene where like the Spider-Man after just ran on scene as they were storming the Statue of Liberty, and he's like,
it was the Spider-Man.
Stunt double.
X-Men and Spider-Man were filming at the same time. It was his stunt double.
And he walked into the wrong side, and he's like, oh. And that was kind of cool. I wish we kind of got, and I hope for Doomsday or Secret Wars, if we could get like a team up between Tobey Maguire Spider-Man and Hugh Jackman Wolverine.
So the rumor going around, and I mean, it's not really a spoiler warning because this is rumors. Could happen, could not happen. But if you don't want to hear any of this, just click off for a second, mute for like 30 seconds. But the rumor for Doomsday going around right now, and I think it's really cool how they're tying these two together, because they were kind of what started it all for us, is that Doomsday opens up in Tobey's universe. It opens up with him as Spider-Man, and there's an incursion going on, and it's the X-Men it's the X-Men's universe having an incursion with Tobey's universe. And the X-Men are trying to save their own universe. So Wolverine and the X-Men are all there trying to plant a bomb in Toby's universe to try to just kill Toby's universe so theirs can survive.
Yeah.
And it's rumored, I hope this doesn't happen because I hope to see them more. But it's rumored that both Wolverine and Toby's Spider-Man die in the first act of the movie, die in the first scene of the movie because they set the bomb off. One of the X-Men has to stay behind to make sure it goes off. So all the X-Men go back. Wolverine stays behind.
Yeah.
Him and Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man fight to try to get control over the bomb, and then the bomb ends up exploding and both of them die. So that's the rumor for the movie. That latter part of it, I hope that doesn't happen. But
anyways,
Yeah.
welcome back, guys. If you muted, but yeah, no, I really hope they have like a cool scene together because I just think tying that back to the original X-Men and the original
yeah,
Spider-Man
even
would be
if
cool.
they do die, I think a fight scene with them
Yeah.
with each other would still be pretty
would
cool.
be cool. So I do like that, and there was another scene. I don't know, but I thought that was just very interesting of just a first X-Men movie. I didn't really like the President Blob person. I didn't really like that. But everything else was great, and so this was a very decent movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, we are getting into our top 3. These are the heavy hitters. So here we go. Number 3 on my list with a 9 out of 10 is X-Men First Class. So this movie hit it out of the park for me. After the failure of X-Men The Last Stand, Fox made a bold decision to make a prequel movie, and that decision turned out to be spectacular. The cast is as great and, dare I say, better than the original cast of the X-Men. James McAvoy and Michael Fassbender are perfect for their roles as Professor X and Magneto.
Yeah.
For me, they will go down in history as 2 of the best casting choices for a superhero film ever.
Yeah.
The plot of this movie is very intriguing. Seeing Professor X and Magneto working together to take down Shaw is so fun. Getting to see their friendship before their relationship turned sour is the highlight of this movie, in my opinion. One thing that Fox has always gotten right with this franchise is Magneto's character development. Even in the bad movies, you see great moments from this character.
Yeah.
Every movie with Fassbender as Magneto that I can think of, every movie with Fassbender as Magneto, I can think of a moment that just wows me. In this movie, seeing him hunt down the Nazis that are responsible for killing his mother, it's just epic. It's awesome. Seeing Magneto turn in the final battle is epic and makes for a very entertaining ending. Some of the mutants introduced in this film are rushed and underdeveloped, which is why I can't make this the top of my X-Men films. But this sure is a great entry, and it completely changed the course of this franchise. When X-Men The Last Stand, it just looked like it was going down. This movie resurrected. So, no, this is a 9 out of 10. Very, very good movie for me.
That's going to shock a lot of people. As number 3 with an 8 out of 10.
Don't do it.
I have X-Men Origins Wolverine. I'm one of the people that really like this movie.
You're one of the wrong people.
No, I'm not. I get there's a lot of stuff that you could probably get rid of that you don't like, and I will talk about that. But I actually really enjoy this film. Yes, I like the Japan Samurai Wolverine, but this one is better out of the two.
No.
I actually love this film. I love seeing Wolverine on a motorcycle and absolutely destroy the bathroom with his claws when he's trying to wash his hand and he destroys the sink and everything. And then he comes to dinner and the old people that took him in, he just holds the sink and he's like, I'm gonna pay you back or whatever. And I think that was cool. I love his outfit, him on the motorcycle. I thought that was kind of cool. Liev Schreiber is a great Sabretooth / brother to Logan. Tyler Mane did a good job in the first X-Men movies, but giving Sabretooth more essence, like voice lines, motivations, and etc., is really important and makes the character better. I love seeing how both of them fought together in the wars. They're brothers, so they fought in World War I and World War II and everything. I love seeing both of them interact. I also where am I? Oh, Dominic Monaghan Bradley in this movie, and also Merry in Lord of the Rings, is great. And Blob is so funny. I love Blob. And he's and Wolverine's Bub, and he's like, "Did you just call me Blob?" And then they fight, and I thought that was kind of cool. Ryan Reynolds as Wade Wilson before Weapon X is great and hilarious. I love the scene when he has like the two swords and he's like, "All right, guys," and then he just destroys all the bullets. I thought that was cool. But what brings the film down is him as Deadpool without voice lines. I've never seen Deadpool, but I know his character has to have crude humor and makes him funny, and him just like you just using his mouth a lot. I get that for Deadpool, and this one isn't good. Also the design for Deadpool was horrible. I hate his like sewn up mouth and just I don't get the tattoos. I just or bad. I also hate how Logan loses his memory because of an adamantium bullet to the brain. That just doesn't make sense. With the samurai cutting his claws,
Yeah.
and then like an adamantium bullet can destroy an adamantium skeleton. I don't get that. I don't
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
But I love Logan's storyline with his wife Kayla, and how they quote unquote faked her death. I thought that was good. And like her then trying to help young Emma Frost and young Scott Summers. I thought that was kind of cool where they're in the prison and then they're fighting and everything. I also loved this version of Gambit.
Yeah.
I haven't seen Deadpool and Wolverine, but I've seen stuff with Channing Tatum. This one I thought it was kind of cool. Very interesting concept and version of Gambit, but I thought it was for its time kind of interesting. But anyways, that's at an 8 out of 10 with X-Men Origins of Wolverine.
All right.
I know I'm gonna get hate for that. Get hate.
Roast him. Roast him.
No.
Join his live streams and roast him.
No. No.
All right. So,
What is
going into number 2 with a 9 out of 10. A lot of people probably have this as their best. It's up there for me. It could easily be number 1. I could flip-flop 1 and 2. 9 out of 10, Logan at number 2.
No, not me.
You're number 2.
No. So dumb. That's dumb.
This movie is peak. After 2 lackluster Wolverine movies, Hugh Jackman finally gets to star in the film that he deserves. This is a great emotional and epic story. This has some of the best action of any of the Fox X-Men movies. This is an amazing send-off for Patrick Stewart's Professor X and for this version of Hugh Jackman's Wolverine. Seeing an old and dying Wolverine reluctantly protecting Laura makes for a deep and emotional story. The R rating allows Wolverine to fight in a way that honors his character from the comics.
Yeah.
It takes Logan to a whole new level of brutal that we haven't seen yet on the big screen. It reminds me of what they're doing with Insomniac's Wolverine right now. They are just truly allowing him to be his character.
Yeah.
That's what this movie does. I nearly cried the first time I watched this movie when X-24, the clone of Wolverine, killed Professor X. Professor X not knowing that it was a clone and just thinking it was Logan killing him is such a gut-wrenching and emotional part to this movie. Logan's final sacrifice at the end of the movie is a very fitting end for his character. It gives him the greatest close to his story that we could have gotten. All that being said, the main villain of this film is a little bit weak. The backstory is a little shaky as well, and I wish we got to see a little bit more about how mutants got near the brink of extinction and what happened to the other X-Men. Other than that, this is a very fun, dark, and entertaining film that I could watch over and over again.
Yeah.
What you were saying about not seeing Logan but liking the other 2 Wolverine movies,
Yeah.
I think if you saw Logan, your opinion would drastically change. This movie is night and day, miles better than either of the other 2. Even if you like the other 2, you gave Origins an 8. If you saw this movie, just because of how good this movie is, I think your Origins being 8 would drop to like a 7 or a 6 for you. Like this movie would make the other ones look horrible for you.
Yeah.
That's how good this movie is. But for me, it could be number 1. For now, it's number 2. It's one of those things that I can flip flop.
Yeah.
But 9 out of 10 for me.
And that leaves for my number 2 spot as a 9 out of 10. I have X-Men First Class.
Okay.
Holy cow, did I love this movie. James McAvoy as Charles Xavier and Michael Fassbender as Eric Lyncher were great as these guys before they became Professor X and Magneto. Seeing them bond and grow was cool. The growth between Mystique and Beast were great, and her trying to help Hank not to be afraid to hide Beast. Nicholas Hoult and Jennifer Lawrence were great as these roles. I didn't really like Moira, whatever the chick that appears in these prequel X-Men. I don't really like her. Um, as a love interest to Charles, Kevin Bacon is a good villain, and the scene of the coin going through Kevin Bacon,
Mhm.
and then it cuts with Charles trying to like mind control, and it's like shot for shot, or it's like side by side, and it lines up so perfectly. I
Yeah.
love that one. It's so peak. Didn't really like now that we know that a bullet caused Charles to be in a wheelchair. I have nothing against that, but it's just, I mean, Moira shooting Michael Fassbender and then him deflecting the bullets and accidentally hitting James. I, I could probably see a better thing of him trying to be in a wheelchair, but it does make sense for it being a prequel film.
Yeah.
And then he shaves and is now bald and ugh. But anyways, uh, Logan's brief cameo in this movie was funny, and him and they're trying to get him, and he's like "f off" and whatever. I think that was kind of funny.
Yeah.
And just a brief second, I think Hugh Jackman can do great as just a brief cameo. I think that is good. Um, Seeing Lucas Till as Cyclops' brother was interesting. Darwin, Mr. Terrific from Superman, I forget his actor, but I think he's great. You kind of forget a lot of these later superheroes were in previous superhero movies.
Yeah.
And Cassidy, the screaming dude,
Yeah.
I thought he was great. The supporting villains were great. Emma Frost, Zoe Kravitz. I didn't know she was in this movie because she's in the Batman as Catwoman. I didn't know she was in this movie.
Yeah.
I thought that was good. And the red dude.
The red dude.
The red dude. I forgot his name. You were talking about scenes with Eric Lyncher and Charles Xavier. I like the satellite scene when he's trying to like just focus, and he can move all metal.
Yeah.
It's just like is his mind there, and so he has so much like pain from like his mother dying because they're Jews, and so this is like the Holocaust and everything, and
Yeah.
him trying to move the satellite was so good, and he's reaching out, but he's like I can't do it, and so he kind of and I think what was it? Charles Xavier wanted like him to shoot Charles and like stop the bullet or whatever.
Yeah.
I thought that was interesting, but as well as Eric's dining scene where he like stabs the guy with the knife and then he like pulls it out with his hand,
Yeah.
and then as well as like the opening scene with Kevin Bacon and everything. I didn't know the coin was that coin was non-metallic or magnetic. So Magneto would have failed either way. He was gonna lose either way, and his mother was gonna die anyways.
Yeah.
So I just thought that was kind of interesting how they did that. And so yeah, as a 9 out of 10, that's my second because I will rewatch this one. As bad as some of the supporting characters, as you said, just seeing the people that you like
Yeah.
and the actors, I think that is so great.
Yeah.
And this definitely brought up the X-Men franchise for a bit after Last Stand, and so but I think we already know what's going to be number one
Well, now we both know what each other's number one is.
because we talk about this all the time. So it's like it's a no-brainer.
Going into number one with a 9 out of 10, I have X-Men Days of Future Past.
Yeah.
This movie is my favorite X-Men movie by far. And I'm not including like Logan, because that's kind of like a Wolverine movie.
Yeah.
But like X-Men movies, this is by far my favorite
Yeah.
X-Men movie. We get to see the best of both worlds, the OG X-Men and the prequel X-Men. This film is an incredible send-off for the OG era of the X-Men, and it sets up a bright future for the new young stars. The use of time travel in this movie is one of my favorites out of any time travel movie.
Yeah.
It raises the stakes of the movie knowing that if Logan fails his mission, all of the X Men in the future will die.
Yeah.
It is entertaining from start to finish, knowing that every decision that Logan makes is crucial, as it could alter the fate of the future. James McAvoy and Michael Fassbender shine again. Seeing the tension between young Professor X and Magneto build throughout this movie is fun to watch. Hugh Jackman is great as Wolverine, as always. Quicksilver's introduction to the X-Men universe is awesome. The time in a bottle sequence is awesome and instantly makes him one of the most likable X-Men characters. The final battle with Magneto in Washington, D.C. is very entertaining. I remember watching this for the first time, thinking that Logan failed his mission when Magneto won the final battle. I thought everyone from the future was going to die, and I was sitting in my seat wondering, like, how are they going to make this work out? Like, he failed. Like, is this the end of the X-Men? Surely this isn't just the end. But then getting to see him appear in the new future and knowing that the mission was successful is a very satisfying ending to the movie for me. My only critique of this movie is that I wish they spent more time developing Trask as a character.
Yeah.
The explanation in the movie for why he does what he does is simply just because he's afraid of mutants. I wish they would have fleshed out his character a little bit more, but the way he is written certainly works for the movie. For me, this is easily up there for some of the greatest superhero movies ever made. And I could rewatch this over and over and over again. I actually watched this last night. So
You did? Wow. Okay.
yep,
Alright.
9 out of 10, number 1 on my list.
Wow. So I don't know what's going to be on. I clicked an ad. Never mind. Okay.
What is his number 1?
What is my number 1? As a 9 out of 10, I put X-Men Days of Future Past. I said best X-Men movie. Having a blend between the old X-Men and the new universe was cool. Seeing how each mutant died in their own way to the Sentinels was sad and so tense. Like Cyclops being pulled apart.
Yeah.
Or seeing Iceman like crush, and you see like his ice head just slide across. I thought that was. I mean, it's kind of gruesome for an X-Men movie, but it's so
For a PG-13 movie, though.
that's intenser.
That's why they did it to Iceman, though,
Yeah.
because there didn't have to be blood.
No,
So
they just crushed him in his yeah. But I thought that was so cool. I love seeing the time in a bottle prison scene with
Yeah.
Evan Peters Quicksilver, and he's just running, and there's the sauce, and so he like eats the sauce, and then he just it's great, and then everything just happens, and they're just all standing there like, what just happened?
Yeah.
Peter Dinklage was great as a villain in the plot of sending Wolverine / Logan to the past to save Mystique from being captured was kind of cool. As we kind of see, this is after Iron Man 2, but how like tech people make tech that kind of just kills people. I think that was kind of I mean, you kind of see that with Justin Hammer and Whiplash for X-Men 2, and that was not, I didn't like that. But for here, I think that was great, using Mystique's ability to then kill future mutants with the Sentinels. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
Having Charles view Logan's mind and knowing his purpose from old Charles is so cool. And I was going to touch on this on some of the past ones, but because it's in this one, I have to talk about it. Having certain people be afraid to look in Logan's mind because it's so dark because his just past was so dark. It's gruesome. Nobody wants to feel what Logan did.
Yeah.
This kind of makes you feel what Logan went through with Weapon X, with his past of just with his wife, and then just anything else. I mean, killing Jean Grey. Just there's so much hurt that Logan has gone through.
Yeah.
And it's all in his mind, and like he doesn't want anybody to view it, but when time has to come, he's like, look into my mind and you'll see why I'm here.
Yeah.
I thought that was great. Michael Fassbender and James McAvoy were born to play these roles as Magneto and Professor X. They are so great. Jennifer Lawrence is so good as Raven / Mystique. Nicholas Hoult is good as Beast, and him making a cure for Charles' walking troubles, but at the cost of him dampening his mind powers, were kind of interesting, because it's like, do you want to walk or do you want to have your mutant powers?
Yeah.
And he chooses to walk, and he's kind of so over it.
Yeah.
And where was I? It's also funny to see Charles use the same line that Logan used for the first Glass movie, to make to make Eric and Charles leave him was kind of funny. I love the ending fight scene with Magneto and Logan, and then Logan gets captured again by Stryker. I thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
But then that's Mystique, and that's kind of mind tricks. This this movie then makes the time travel kind of funky because Jean Grey is alive and so is Cyclops. But how Professor X, Sir Patrick Stewart, remembers to catch up with Logan after that whole movie was really nice. Think this is a peak X-Men movie, as well as Hugh Jackman Wolverine.
Yeah.
As you watch X-Men movies, as you see actors play roles, this was like peak for Hugh Jackman to play as Wolverine, for Michael Fassbender and James McAvoy for Professor X.
Yeah.
And as an overall X-Men movie, this is like peak. I mean, it just doesn't get better than that. And as you were saying with rewatchability, I think it was a year ago. I don't know. I was over here at your place, and we were building a Marvel puzzle.
Yeah.
And you're like, we need to watch an X-Men movie. What X-Men movie do we watch? And we watched Days of Future Past. We didn't finish it, but we did watch it because it is the best X-Men.
Yeah.
If I had to watch an X-Men movie, it's this one.
Yeah.
Because it makes time travel actually make sense. Yes, there's Back to the Future, there's other ones, but this one makes sense because if Logan fails, everybody dies.
Yeah.
And it doesn't. It's weird, but I love that, and so
Yeah.
that's 9 out of 10 best X-Men movie.
All right.
Is Days of Future Past.
Well, there we go. So this is a much shorter video than our previous 3 episodes, but that's actually what we're aiming for. We had some very lengthy lists with the MCU and with DC. So now that those big lengthy lists are out of the way, expect anywhere between 50 minutes to an hour and a half for our episodes. This one's going to land right around an hour, so I'm pretty satisfied with that. I think it works out pretty good.
Yeah.
So let us know again if you have any suggestions for future episodes. We are more than happy to listen to the fans, listen to what you guys want.
Yeah.
Again, be sure to follow our Spotify, our TikTok, subscribe on YouTube, like the video, all that jazz.
Yeah.
Trying to push out the kind of content that you guys want.
Yeah.
So again, just let us know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As we're recording this, I did basically a 2.5 hour live stream for Spider-Man. As talking with Dan, school kind of starts around later August, so trying to get we made a great Google Calendar about what we want to do.
Our schedule,
yes. And so doing Spider-Man live streams about 2 to 3 hours every Wednesday night.
That'll finish around mid-August.
Yes. I think we did pretty good the previous night, but trying to hopefully finish that so we can start on some new games. And then Fridays around 9 or 10, doing like a 2-hour Battlefront stream. I think that's pretty good to be consistent with, because we get a lot of good viewers for Battlefront.
Yeah.
And then that's basically it on mine.
Yeah, the big thing with our schedule is we are both college students, full-time college students. Yeah. So when school starts back up, we're going to continue to do the podcast. Mm-hmm. That is going to be our priority number 1.
Yeah.
We are going to do one gaming series. I will not reveal what that's going to be yet. But we're going to do a gaming series.
Yeah.
But that's going to be about it for while the college semester's going on. Yeah. Just so that way we don't overwhelm ourselves. Mm-hmm. So it will step back a little bit. There will be a little less content, but we're going to try to make the content high quality since there is less. Yeah. So that's what we're going to focus on, quality over quantity.
Yeah.
We will announce our next gaming series after he is done with Spider-Man.
And kind of our vision. I think we were talking about as school gets around, I can't obviously come over here. And so we're going to do, it's going to be a little different format. So I'm not going to spoil anything.
We got some big changes.
We got some big changes to this as we get into month
3 for our YouTube channel.
So yeah, that's come and support us, guys.
All right. Well, anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. We hope you enjoyed the video. And we will see you guys next week. Bye.